no sorrow in a smile that he's not here to share. You cannot grieve forever. He would not want you to. He'd hope that you would carry on the way you always do. So talk about the good times and the ways you showed you cared, the days you spent together, or the happiness you shared. Let the memories surround you. A word someone may say will suddenly recapture a time, an hour, a day that brings him back as clearly as though he were still here and fills you with the feelings that he's always near. For if you keep those memories, you will never be apart, and he will live forever, locked safe within your heart.
I know all of you people.
Are you sure?
I think, yeah. 2, 3. You, a little dicey. Yes. Angel. So we're here to say goodbye to our friend, Chuck. I had a lot of nicknames for Chuck, only because he was worthy of a lot of nicknames, I found. And it was kind of organic. It just kind of happened because in one moment he was Clever Chuck. And I think all you know what I'm talking about. You'd be sitting there at the bar, he'd be having his one drink, his one cider, and there'd be something on the TV or whatever, and he would just nail it. You know what I mean? He would just come out with something that was ridiculously funny, appropriate, whatever. Now that's not to say he wasn't a total nerd, because he was. A lot of the times he would come out with something that I would call a groaner. It was just a joke that was so bad, so monumentally bad. You would just, oh God, Chuck, no! But it was still clever. That's why I called him Clever Chuck, because he was very clever. You've all seen his Facebook posts, and he would always have something great, right? Perfect response. Well, that's what he would do. We bonded over nerd stuff, of course. I met him, Gerald had met him first, and Artie Gold had met him first at karaoke, of course. They met him at karaoke. And after that, I met him, he was hanging out with Gerald. We just started talking, and, of course, we were into comic books and Star Wars and, Marvel, all that stuff. So, of course, we bro-nerded out, We were just bro-nerds, and that was it. From there, he was just always there. He was there, but not only was he just always there, he would do stuff for you. I think you all know what I'm talking about. He would drive you home. You're drunk as a monkey, right? He had one drink all night. He had one.
Take you 20 minutes, but you're getting there.
Right. So Chuck would be like, I'll take you home. I'm going to call a cab. Nah. I'll take you home. He became like my personal Uber driver. It was great. And that's kind of how he became my favorite nickname for him, which was Uncle Chuck. He became Uncle Chuck, and, that's how I'm always going to remember him. No? You're thinking Uncle Buck. It rhymes, so it kind of worked, but it was, yeah.
Mr. Kansas City.
Oh, that's right. Mr. Kansas City. He actually got an Arthur Friedman nickname. That's a big deal, by the way. If you don't know that, that's a very big deal. Mr. Kansas City.
And he got to go to Kansas City.
And I got to say, in all the time I knew Chuck, and other people have great stories about Chuck. I don't want to take up all the time, but the thing I was happiest about, and I'll tell this short story. Before the Super Bowl last year, as we all know, he went to the Super Bowl and saw his Chiefs win, which he waited his whole life for.
Yeah.
I remember at the bar, I was there with Duff, and we were like, we had the whole bar screaming, Chuck, 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 Chuck. It was great. Oh, it was fantastic. He comes up to me. He comes up to me in the inn. He comes up to me in the inn, and he got the flight. He got the whole thing figured out, and he shows me his phone with the amount of money
Yeah, whoa.
That I'm not gonna
We know.
say, but he shows me his phone with the amount of money the trip was, and I was like, dude, man, you could buy a lot of damn apple ciders with that, man. And I was very happy, and I'm very happy to this day that I was one of the people who kind of pushed him to do it.
And he took penalty flag.
And he took penalty flag, yes.
They fucking won.
Penalty flag went to the Super Bowl,
And they
And they
won.
fucking won.
and they won. So that's the thing I'm happiest about, that he got to see that happen, that he waited his whole life for that. That's great. So, to Uncle Chuck, our friend. To Uncle Chuck.
Anybody else like to say anything?
Chuck, one night, hanging out, had a few, we're at Half Moon, by myself, I sit down at the last seat, and there's this different looking guy sitting there with an apple cider. And you know, I talk to everybody about something or whatever.
Yes.
Chuck, yeah, even you. Chuck and I both have in common that we retired as engineers. And we started talking engineering. I mean, we were sharing equations, you know, and I don't do that with many people. Chuck was one of the smartest, most intelligent people I've ever met. And what made Chuck special and why there's so many of us here is Chuck would find the common ground with everybody. Chuck could talk to you about, well, I don't know what he could talk to you about. Chuck could talk to you about sports. Chuck could talk to you about sports.
Because that music.
He could talk about music. He would come up to you and just strike up a conversation and create a bond like no one else I've ever known. You know, he was just that kind of guy. So like, just in closing, last night I was at Half Moon as they reopened. I'm sitting at the bar, I'm having a drink, and I'm talking to Jerry, the bartender, and we're talking about Chuck. And Jerry just put it really well. He said, I can't mimic his accent, but he was a nice man.
He was a nice man.
He was a nice man, you know?
Everybody said that.
And
He was the nicest
let's
guy.
remember Chuck is a nice man.
Yeah. Thank you, Artie.
He saw what I had, and he was trying to get one, and somebody said mine looked nice or something, and he was like, yeah, mine looks like a mess.
Speak up. Speak up.
Yeah. So he mentioned, you know, that Artie and I were one of the first people to meet him. We met him, you know, while we were doing some karaoke. There was one night that they were doing trivia on a Wednesday night, and Artie and I were doing it, and we were looking for a third, and Artie looks over and sees him. He had already met him, and he's like, he goes, you. He couldn't remember his name, but he met him. He's like, come here. He said, you're an old fart. You know all this trivia stuff. You gotta know this. So he started doing trivia with us that night, and we were trying to come up with a name for the team, and so there were three of us, so we said, let's be the Three Stooges. As we continued doing the trivia, we got other people who would join us, so we dropped the three and we just became the Stooges. And we started doing some trivia at a different place that was over at the Junction, and we had some other people, you know, the Duffs, they joined us and they helped us out. And he was very serious about the trivia.
Oh my God, yeah.
Very serious. You know, anybody who actually joined us, I mean, he was like, you had to have the right answer. And if you didn't think you knew the right answer, then it was like, okay, shut up, who's next? You know, do you know the answer? The way he would put it is say, what is your level of veracity with that answer? 1, 5, 10, up to 5? No. You gotta be like an 8 or 9, and then we might take that as an answer we're
You
gonna
guys
put
just
in.
swept the town with it.
Oh yeah.
We won almost every week.
I know you
And
did.
we won most weeks. There were a few weeks we didn't, but most of the time we were there,
And he
we
still
won.
pissed about it.
And there was 1 week actually, we'd been going there for months, and we were winning a lot. And I think the ultimate compliment we got was that when you went, everybody would have their own team name. Like I said, we were always the Stooges.
Right.
There was one of the teams that decided, I think they had been there multiple times, but they decided that night the name of their team was going to be Beat the Stooges. Because they were tired of us winning every freaking week.
Fuck them.
So we still won, but it was funny that there was a team that had that stuck in their head. That's like, we got to beat these guys,
Oh, that's
and they still couldn't do it. So that's yes.
Well, we're going to come back and be the students next time.
So that was just one of the things I remember. Just that he was so into trivia and karaoke every Friday.
Yep.
It didn't matter who was there. If nobody else was there, he was there.
Yep.
And he would research his karaoke every week. He knew exactly what songs, what order, who he was going to be singing. If he knew somebody had passed away that week, an artist, he would do one of their songs that week because he knew he wanted to do a tribute to whoever it was, which was great. One of the great things about him, that he was always thinking like that. He always had some kind of plan in place.
Yep.
So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
So last year we were in New Orleans and it was me, Ken, Chuck, and Phil, our beloved Phil, right? And there's karaoke. We're on our way to Frenchman Street to see like all this great music, right? And Chuck's like, they have karaoke at Checkpoint Charlie's. I want to do a song. Checkpoint Charlie's makes Shines look like the hilt. I mean, it's a laundromat / bar, right? So like, all right, Chuck, one song. We're gonna be there like 15 minutes. It took 2.5 hours for them to call his name. He does creep, of course, and then he walks over when he's done. He's like, okay, we can go now. Like 2.5 hours, and then we go listen to this amazing music on Frenchman Street. But Chuck was always fun to hang out with. I mean, I remember the Irish Day that I met him, probably like 6 years ago, and I'm walking with Tim and Cameron, and I say, who's that? And they go, oh, that's Chuck. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, oh, that's just Chuck. I was like, oh, okay, good. We have a new friend. And he became part of our family, our little Long Beach family. He was our uncle, and we're gonna miss him.
Misfits, yes.
The Misfits.
Down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees. I went down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees. Well, I asked the Lord, help me.
Somebody alone. Somebody hold the key. You are the reason I've been waiting so long. Somebody hold the key. Well, there's no time and I can't find time. And I'm wasted and I can't find my way home. Come down off your throne, leave your body alone. Somebody must change. You are the reason I have waited all these years. Somebody holds the key. Well, I'm out saying that I'm out of time. And I'm wasted and I can't find my way home. nobody alone. Somebody must change. You are the reason I have went all these years. Somebody hold the key. And it's the end and I'm out of time. And I'm wasted and I can't find my way home. And I'm wasted and I can't find my way home. I am wasted and I can't find my way home. Can't find my way home. And I can't find my way home.
Okay, guys, we're going to make our way. We'll share one, Jeffrey. And Chuck's going to take a swim with Phil. There you go. Just like they did on Super Bowl Sunday. All right, my suggestion.
Where's Dave?
He doesn't have one.
No, I'll share one with Jeff, don't worry. Oh, okay.
I kiss him all the time. I know, he asked me to get a straight. I found a dinosaur. Look what I found!
Yes!
Look what I found! I have a Stegosaurus! That's Chuck! That's Chuck! His name is Chuck! I'm glad I did. I am so pleased. It's a Chuckosaurus. This is going right on my mantle. It's a Chuckosaurus, there you go.
Get very low, put our hand over it like this, more slowly. That's what I should have done. But then again, I wouldn't have this great story to tell if I had done that.
Yeah, but Phil said once the trucks are good.
Yes.
I'd just like to thank you all for being Chuck's friend.
Thank you for being Chuck's friends.
Thank you, Chuck.
You gave him
Chuck.
such a great life last week.
Uncle Chuck, knowledge Nazi.
Yes. Put your hand over the government. That's it. Rest in peace, Chuck. Have a great swim.
Meet everybody up there. You're up, Chuck. That's the karaoke.
Oh, absolutely. Who are we singing with right now?
Oh, man. We're singing Creep right now.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's beautiful. It's perfect.
Gonna miss you, Chuck.
Wait, it's like someone just standing.